All right, let's dive into one of Python's most powerful and, honestly, most useful data structures, the dictionary. If you've ever found yourself working with the list and thinking, man, there has to be a better way to organize this, well, you're in the right place.
So let me ask you a super simple question. Have you ever actually used a real physical dictionary? You know, the paper kind, to look up what a word means? If you answered yes to that, then guess what? You're already halfway there. You already get the core idea. In a real dictionary, you use a word, that's your unique key, to find its definition, which is its value. A Python dictionary works in the exact same way. It's that intuitive. Now, this is where dictionaries are a total game changer, especially when you compare them to lists. With a list, everything is about its position. You have to know the index number, 0, 1, 2, 3. But with a dictionary, forget numbers. You find data by its name. You don't ask for item 0, you ask for bug. It makes your code so much easier to read and understand.
So let's break it down. What are these things actually made of? It all boils down to one simple, powerful concept: key-value pairs. This key-value pair is the absolute heart of every dictionary. It's the fundamental building block. Just think of it as a single entry. You have a key, which is a unique name you give it, and that's tied directly to a value, which is the actual piece of data you want to hold on to.
And here's what it looks like in actual Python code. See those curly braces? That's your signal you're making a dictionary. Inside, we have our key, bug, followed by a colon, and then its value, an error in program. Each of these pairs is just separated by a comma. That's all there is to it.
Okay, so making a dictionary is pretty easy. But what's the point if you can't get the information back out, right? So let's look at how we actually access the data we've stored inside.
So using the dictionary we just made, how do you think we'd pull out the definition for the key bug?
It's ridiculously simple. You just type the name of the dictionary, test dic, and then use square brackets, just like you would with a list. But, and this is the crucial part, inside those brackets, you don't put a number. You put the actual name of the key you're looking for, as a string.
And boom! When you run that, Python doesn't have to search through a list. It takes that key, bug, and instantly looks up its value. It's a super direct and incredibly fast way to get exactly the piece of information you need.
Now, one of the best things about dictionaries is that they're not set in stone. They're alive. They're meant to be changed. So let's see how you can add new information and edit what's already in there. This brings us to a slightly fancy programming term. Dictionaries are mutable. All that word means is that they're changeable. You can add things, edit things, or remove things after you've already created the dictionary. This is what makes them so incredibly flexible.
So how do we add a totally new entry? Let's say we want to add a definition for loop. We just use the same square bracket notation, but this time we give it a key that doesn't exist yet, like loop. Then we just use the equal sign to assign it a value. Python sees the new key and just adds the whole new entry to our dictionary. Done.
And here is the absolute best part. This is what makes dictionaries so easy to work with. The syntax for editing an existing item is exactly the same as adding a new one. You don't have to learn a second command.
Let's just look at this side by side. On the left, we're giving it a brand new key, loop. On the right, we're using a key that's already there, bug, and just giving it a new value. The code itself looks identical. Python is smart enough to figure it out. It just checks, does this key exist? If it does, it updates the value. If not, it creates a whole new entry. So simple.
We've covered the core basics, so let's just wrap this all up with a quick, simple cheat sheet that puts everything we just learned in one place. And here it is, your 3 fundamental operations. To create a dictionary, you use curly braces. To access a value, you use square brackets with the key's name. And to add or edit a value, you use that same square bracket notation with an equal sign. You remember these 3 patterns, you have basically mastered Python dictionaries. So you've just unlocked a much more powerful and, frankly, a more human way to structure your data. You're no longer limited to just remembering numbered positions. You can now organize and find information by meaningful names. So the only real question left is, now that you have this power, what are you going to build with it?